Okay, new recording. We're going to look at this logo again, but as an image, typical PNG image file instead of as a SVG file, because we could do it with the SVG as well. It's just a different way of doing it. So as it's placed here, the logo is inserted as a custom image content thing that we really can't do much with because it's an image. I don't know that we could have one of them with a different class appear or disappear. That would be a little bit weird. Okay. So I'm going to, this is maybe our first little bit of surgery on our page. In the HTML, let's look at where that logo is put in. Okay, here it is. No, here it is, the image. I'm going to do a line return just so this is easier to see. And I'll make sure that, there we go. And I'll even indent this. Okay, so now it's a little bit easier to pick out. So I'm going to put a comment around that. And automatically tries to put the opening and closing of the comment together. So here's the first part of the comment, less than, exclamation dash dash, and then dash dash, greater than, that closes it. So that means it's not going to show up now. So if I save that and go to my page, it's just gone. I've destroyed my the thing that placed the image in there. So let's put it back in a slightly different way. So we have the A, and the sizing is based on sizing the image. So I just hid the image. Okay. So if we want it to be based on something else, we need to put that in. Let's see what we want to put it in as. I don't know, let's just do a normal div. Div ID is logo, and close the div. Okay, so I have this marker, and I already have a system. Let's save this. A system in the CSS that responds to whether it's the normal navbrand image or the navshrink navbar brand. Here it says SVG, I don't think, or the navshrink navbar brand IMG. So I can use a similar thing to trigger it. Let's copy both of these. So instead of the image, we do a hashtag logo. And similarly here, hashtag logo. Okay. And we're going to put the image in here. I'll leave that size in there for now. So it's a background. We could just do the shorthand for background. That should be okay. I'm forgetting how to even do a background image all of a sudden. Images, what was it called? Not logo dash tall.pg. Okay, let's see if that even shows up. something just really basic. Is this the first image in this document I'm putting in as a... No, I already have this one. Do we not need quotes? Is that what I'm doing wrong? Oh, we're in the CSS file. That's what's wrong. I didn't back out of the CSS. Maybe we don't need the quotes. We'll find out. No, it's still working there. Do I not have a size for the thing now? It's not showing up. Where is it in here? So the masthead, navbar, container, navbar brand, logo, 0 by 80, 0 wide. Okay, so it has no size to it. That's why it's not showing up. So if you can't hit something using the thing here, sometimes you can select it here and it'll show you. When you have a 0 width on something, it doesn't help. So before we had the height, and with just an image, it'll do the box if you just have one dimension like the height. But when you don't have an image holding it open, you need to explicitly state what it's going to be. So I'm going to have to put in a width as well. So it's computing 5 rems of height into 80 pixels. So let's do 7. See what that gives us. Oh, there it is, but it's like the bottom corner. Okay. So we have a box now that's 112 by 80, but we're only seeing a little corner. What we're seeing here is the upper left corner of that image. Okay. And to get it to fit in the box, we're going to do a little trick here with the image size. Okay, and if I'm using background here, this is the shorthand, and I could technically do the other things with background size and background position and background whatever. I can't remember the order for it. It might work if I just put it in. I'm not remembering what it is. Nope, that was wrong. It's easier to remember if you keep them separate. So to keep them separate, we would need to have this be just for the image and do a background size separately. There we go. So it's covering the area, which is not bad. I mean, it cuts it off. To get it all in, we'd have to do contain instead. Okay, so it's contained, but it's repeating. So we could go back in and do the background repeat. No repeat. And then it does just the one. Okay. So if you are going to use an image instead of an SVG, or instead of hard coding the image into the page, I mean, we could have done it the same way. We could have just had the image address here go to our PNG file, and it would have worked fine. And I can go back and show you that. But if you, the advantage of doing it the way I'm doing now, which I'll show you in a second here, is that we can change the file that it's pulling up depending on the size. So let me get this size the way I want to first here. So 112 was not wide enough. Let's try 8. That's better. Okay. And then when it shrinks down fine. But what if I decide, okay, I like the tall logo and I have enough space for it, but if it gets much smaller than that, it's just too small. So how about I use the horizontal version of the logo? So I can just change, because it's coded in the CSS here. So here's the smaller version of it, the one that has the shrink in it. So I'll keep the height the way I have it, but we'll need to describe a width. So I'll keep it at, actually I'll do a wider width for this shorter one. It'll be shorter but wider. And I'll put in these same items here. I'll change it to the long version. And I'll go back up to the top, okay? And as I scroll down, I get the small version. Well, that was kind of choppy. That seemed really sloppy, didn't it? So tall, short, tall, short. I think I need something about that transition that is no longer triggering. I wonder if I have it on both of them. That's better. So it's bigger. It's still kind of choppy. Big, little. Okay, so you get the idea. This box is not doing a good job of staying in alignment with the other. That may be because my box is too tall. Okay, so we can fix that with a little bit of background position, because the whole box is centered, just not the image within it. So let's see. Background position. Center, center. So center left and right and up and down. That puts it back in line. Okay. And the size is not, I want it bigger. I think I can get it bigger. If I increase my width. There we go. So, yeah, I hope that didn't confuse you, doing it this two different ways. Okay, and let's prove that we can go back. So in a sense, it would be smartest just to use this horizontal logo on the website and to code it in the way that the original one was done. So let's go back and do that as another alternative, which is really the easiest way to do it. So back here, here's my division with the image placed in the background. So I'm going to move my comment from this one to this one. Okay, so now the image is active again, and let's change that to the long dot PNG. And there it is. It's just there. So with this one, whoa, that's like quite big. Too big. That's because of the way I did it with the changes. So I had changed, it was originally 2 rems and 1.5. For what? Taller logo. Okay, so moving it back to the original intent of the, so 1.5 or is 0.5? We'll find out. Okay, so this version, that's more appropriate. This is the original code. 2 for the big version, and when it shrinks down, 1.5. So if you have a horizontal logo, that's going to work best in this space. If you have a tall logo, as my code says here, you're probably going to want 5 rems for the height and 2.5 when it's shrunken down. Okay, so I probably should have shown this first. So that's definitely the easiest way to do it, is just to because if we start with a shorter, longer logo, we didn't even need to do this because that's not a change from the original styles. We wouldn't have had to put that in there. So that would have been just a matter of changing the SVG to our PNG or the SVG. I mean, I could change this back to the long SVG. It's not going to care. And I don't know if you notice if this seems sharper than the PNG version. Technically, it should be sharper. I don't know if I notice. Oh, it is sharper when it's the SVG. It's just a little bit blurrier as a PNG. So that alone, I guess, is good reason to do the SVG version, because it's actually a scaling vector. Yeah, it does look nice. Okay, 2 very long recordings for a simple thing such as a logo. With the SVG though, it does need to be just one color. Like if I had a white N in here, it would have had to be a PNG.